Hello and welcome to Living Well Today, episode 56. I am Angela and your host and guide for the next 20 or 30 minutes. And I encourage you to check out other episodes of this on YouTube and my Facebook page for Living Well Today. You'll also find these on LinkedIn. And I also ask that if you visit me on YouTube to subscribe to my channel, to follow me on my socials, and work with me and alongside me to continue to shine light on conversation, on well-being, on finding peace and ease within your life and your work, and creating that work-life balance so that you are fully present with your family, for yourself, with your family, with your coworkers, your neighbors. So today's topic is, how do we work together? How do we work together? It's timely, obviously, given last night's election in the United States. And so whether you're watching this on replay or with me here live today, first and foremost, I want to extend an olive branch and say, regardless, and this, I would be doing this same show, regardless of the outcome, because we do share the same planet. We do share the same churches, the same schools, the same workplace, the same neighborhoods. And a house divided against itself cannot stand, any more than a home divided against itself cannot stand. So a rising tide lifts all boats. We all benefit when we make healthier choices. And I want to share a quote from you for any of those of us who may be feeling more than disappointed. Maybe there's not just discouragement, but just outright anguish. Maybe there is so much anger. Maybe there is, and you want to honor all of those feelings because by pushing them away or minimizing them or saying that they aren't there doesn't make them not there. You're better to acknowledge and to look at it and to understand it and to sit with it. To be with your anger, to be with your fear, to be there in that space with it and say, I see you, I hear you, I understand why you're there. And not to marginalize or minimize it because it's real and you're feeling what you're feeling. So first and foremost, I want to extend this space to you for that, and to extend an olive branch and to say, how do we work together for the benefit of us all? And I know for certain that fear mongering, hatred, resentment percolate into disease in the body, certainly disease in a community and in a country, but then down to the micro level to the body. Do you really want that for yourself? Do you want that for your family? Or do you want to emanate and try to cultivate as best you can the light that is within you, the divinity that is within you and within every one of us? And so I'm realizing I'm going to close out some of my windows because I may be having issues with buffering because I have way too many. I forgot. I have way too many windows open on sorry about that. If there were issues with that, I apologize. We'll get it better here by doing this here. Okay. Hopefully it's better. So, I want to share a quote with someone who I have read, and I've watched I've read books about him. I've read about his life. I've seen a particular movie that's a favorite of mine that I love about him and his life, and that is Nelson Mandela. And if you're aware, maybe maybe you're not aware, that he was imprisoned for over 2 decades. He was imprisoned wrongfully simply because of having a voice and wanting to be a free citizen to express that voice. He was imprisoned for over 20 years in a little wee cell, no bigger than most people's closet. And he did hard labor every day out in the pits, digging. Just unthinkable, really. I want you to think about that for a second. Over 2 decades of your life stolen and put in prison just because you have a voice and you want equal and fair treatment. And so this is what he said. As I walked out the door, this is when he was being released. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. So each one of us has a choice to create and remain in our own prison or to let ourselves free. That's a choice. And I'm not saying you can make that today. I'm saying that with an open mind and an open heart to the possibility that maybe I don't want to keep myself imprisoned there in that place or put any more ill-being into my life than maybe I perceive already exists because of certain things that are outside of my control. You get to make a choice today, a new choice. And I posted this earlier on my Facebook this morning about making a choice. Making a choice of, can this be a spark of finding new ground in a different way where each of us can meet there in that place and lock arms and walk forward together? Because the alternative is so disempowering for all of us. It's literally like looking at your own face and slicing off a part of your own face because you need to be right. And because you don't like the way that things have gone. So you're going to punish yourself and your family further and your company that you work for further. I was on a call this morning and it wasn't my idea to schedule a workshop this morning. And someone said, I'm not participating this morning, and then muted themselves again. And that's their right. And you have to, when you bump up against those things, we each are called to step up to a more forgiving and kind and compassionate and empathetic human being right now. Everyone wins or everyone loses, really, regardless of the person that's put in a particular position. Think about that. You will never meet that person in your life, ever, ever, ever. And yet you're going to allow those systems and those structures and those people to define you and to define the quality of your day-to-day life and experience. No one else gets to do that, only you. And to Nelson Mandela's point, spent over 2 decades in prison, imprisoned, simply because he had a voice and expressed that voice openly. He was imprisoned. So create your own prison for the next 4 years or make a decision you're going to break out of that prison. And not in a way to harm others, because I will tell you what, karma is a bitch. And if your MO is to do and say and break down anything and everything you possibly can in defiance, that's your right to do that. But understand, you will be held accountable for that. Just as you are held accountable for your good works, you are held accountable for your not good works. And the only defining line between good and not good works is if you harm another. If you directly and intentionally harm another. Okay? You always want to walk with the intention, I protect myself, I protect my family, and all actions I take are in the benefit of myself and my family and all. All actions that I take ultimately are for the benefit of all. Okay? So today's episode, having said all, is about practicing patience and compassion and asking, how can I be better today? Better in your church, better in your school, better at work, better at home for your family. How can you be better today? Not bitter, better. Can you be hopeful or can you be helpless? Can you be a hero for your family or can you be helpless and hopeful for your family or helpless? And when I say hero, walk in nobility, walk in kindness, walk in surrender. One of the most powerful lessons in the Bible, in any the Quran, the Torah, the any book, ancient holy book, talks about the power that is found in surrender, in giving over your own will to divine will, to the bigger scheme of things, and trusting on some level that you can't see it all and you definitely don't know it all. You cannot see the bigger powers at work and why certain things go certain ways. And that trust is vital to your well-being. It's vital to your well-being and to the well-being of your family and your community. So, when we understand everyone looks through their own life lens, no one else has the experiences you have. No one else has your story. We all have things that tie us together, and we are ultimately all one. But the way that oneness is expressed is through a different lens and collage and tapestry of life experiences. So, how do you build a bridge of understanding and compassion, focusing on shared goals, bringing more patience and empathy to a situation in an everyday interaction, wherever you may be and walk in the world, when that lens is so very different from your own? Um, having different opinions is a natural thing. How boring would the world be if we all had the same opinion? But those differences create tension. They create a lot more than tension in some cases. So, can we intentionally handle them with respect and with dignity and some measure of nobility? Um, let's take a work setting. Imagine you're in a meeting, like I was this morning. A colleague voices an opinion that feels so completely different from your own. In that moment, it's very easy to just shut down and start planning your counter argument, right? But can you do what I say is a pause? Can you pause instead of rushing in, instead of rushing to respond or to be right? Can you take a deep, slow breath? And you ask yourself, what might this person's experience be? What could be informing their opinion? They look through a different life experience lens than I do. That's practicing empathy. Asking yourself the question, go inward instead of at them. Go into yourself. This is an opportunity to learn more about yourself and to rise to the next level of consciousness, which is awareness. Listening, really listening, is an art form. And it's one that I continue to try and evolve in myself. Um, One way to practice this is what we call reflective listening. When someone expresses something to you, whether it's something you agree with or not, reflect back to them what you heard. So, this is what I'm hearing. Repeat it back. It sounds like this is what you're saying. Am I correct? Restate what they have said to you. It's simple, but it's effective. And it gives space between what they said and how you respond. All important. Um, Understanding that other person's perspective goes a long way in helping us realize that we're all working towards something greater together. In the end, do we not all breathe the same air? Want the same things? Want love? Want safety? Want peace and contentment and joy and energy to create, to be our full creative selves? We all want those things inherently, whether we can express them that way or not. It's what we all long for. So we can all have that. We can all actually have that right now, in this second, in this instant, by simply making the intention to have it. You've already shifted. You've already opened, you see. You've already become more conscious, more aware. Eckhart Tolle says, simply by acknowledging you are not in peace, looking at it and saying, I am not at peace. I know I'm not at peace. Let me sit here with my unrest. Let me sit here with my unpeace. And by doing that, you're already letting peace in. That's the paradox, friend. By acknowledging what is and being with what is, the unrest, the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty, by simply saying, I don't know it all, I understand and appreciate, I don't have the whole story, I can't know the whole plan. By simply doing that, you are already opening and raising your level of consciousness. And through that, new solutions and new answers and new ease and peace can come in. Einstein said, a problem can never be solved at the same level of consciousness that it was created. So you want to solve some of the problems in your own home, at your company, in your community, for your region, the state, the country, the world. You want to solve that? You start here. You start right here with your own heart. And as you do that, you shift your own consciousness, which makes you more resourceful. That's how the ecosystem works. And as you do that, your family may not be able to articulate it, but they feel more easiness in the home. And they emanate it to their friends and their fellow students and their co-workers. It is the ripple in the pond. Do you really want a tsunami? Is that really what you want? You get to make a conscious choice right now not to be swallowed up, not to be imprisoned, but to step forward on a new level of consciousness and open to a new level of understanding and cooperation and surrender. And through that surrender, there is so much beauty on the other side of that opening. It is literally like, it's literally like walking from a dark, closed off closet to a beautiful garden with birds and sunshine. And only you, not a government, not a leader, not even your spouse or your therapist or your mentor, they can't do that for you. Only you can do that for you. So focusing on shared goals. What are the aspects that bring us together? We all want love. We want safety. We want economic prosperity. We know that we want those things. And there's a wonderful saying that says the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So I love that because it reminds us that when we focus on what's shared and what the shared goals are, we can accomplish far more together than we can alone. So there's our alone individual work of examining our own heart and leading with kindness and being mindful of our words and our actions and the impact that it has on those around us. So there's that aspect. Then there's, okay, now as the whole, how do I show up and support what I know that we all are striving for? When it comes to work, does everyone feel like they can contribute meaningfully? Does everyone feel like if we bring that intention into our meetings, let's focus on our shared goals, our projects, and even our conversations, can we work together to stay centered on what matters most, which is mutual respect, mutual collaboration, and trust? Because when mutual respect, collaboration, and trust decay, you cannot be your full resourceful self. It is not possible. And I honestly, intrinsically believe that every one of us inherently is born to become our whole, full selves and remember who we are, which is divinity in action, nature in action. And nature is a natural system of cooperation and collaboration. So it is our responsibility with our higher mind and our higher self to realize our role in that cooperation and collaboration. And if we focus on what unites us, our shared desire for safety, cleanliness, improvement, beauty, laughter, if we focus on those things, we can at least all agree we have agreement on something. Yes, I agree. I want safety and love and joy and contentment and prosperity. Yes, health, well-being. I want those things. Okay, great. We have agreement. Now, I understand and respect. We both believe different ways of getting there, and that's okay because we have a shared goal. Let's just take one step and recognize we want to support one another in helping each of us achieve that goal. In our schools and in our churches, if we have a vision for growth, for unity, if we can work to uplift and encourage rather than discourage and judge, how does that benefit any of us? And I've done it and I do it. I'm not living in a glass house here, folks. Every episode, I always say, part of these episodes is for me and my own understanding and trying to deepen my own awareness around some of these ideas and concepts that come to me that I can practice, but I'm not 100% consistent with them. I don't know how to do that all the time. I don't know how to not judge all the time. I have moments of where I'm really good with my non-judgment. And then I slip into it. I just do. And it isn't about living a perfect life and never making a mistake and never slipping into judgment or criticism. It's about recognizing it faster when it happens and course correcting yourself. Stepping back, pausing, breathing, saying, wait a minute, that's not how I want to be today. I want to be better today. So it isn't about living this pristine life. That's not human. That's for the gods. It is about recognizing that we are not always in alignment. And when that misalignment happens, recognizing it and correcting it, softening it, propping ourselves up in a more empowering way that also empowers others. Because hatred, anger, frustration, fear does not serve you. It does not serve anyone. Anyone. And I slip over into fear. I do. I went through this whole thing with all of my energetic centers last night, my chakras, and the stress that I was feeling and the fear that I was feeling. And I really had to do a self check. And I know, and this is rooted back to childhood. I know my biggest themes in my life are safety and trust and feeling grounded, my root chakra and my sacral chakra, which is all about having your own voice and feeling safe and nurtured and protected and loved. They're the root basic survival energies. And I know they run through me. I know they are part of my theme. And, it's okay. I see that, I recognize it, and I nurture it. And I go through the process layer by layer. And when I'm moving into fear, I work to recognize it as best I can and remind my 4-year-old self or my 7 or my 10-year-old self that I'm 56 now and I'm an adult. And that is just a memory. There is no power, only the power of which I give it. So, yeah, my father set fire to 2 of our homes. Yeah. One of which I was in when he set fire to it. Okay. I could continue to live in that space, and it does come up. The safety and the abandonment and that stuff, it comes up. It does. And I will, maybe I'll fully release it in this lifetime, and maybe I'll get most of the way there. I don't know. I don't know. I just know what I can do today, right here, right now. And that is to see it, to understand it, recognize it, know that it's there, and to say, I can do it better because I am safe, and take stock of the ways that I am safe and that I am loved and I am protected, and deepening that trust in my own resourcefulness to take care of myself. So each of us has these themes. And this election, anything in the world, anything at work, a change of companies where people seem to just feel like they are unraveling in the uncertainty and the loss of control, that will magnify your themes. COVID magnified certain themes for people. I prospered and thrived emotionally, etc. during COVID. It doesn't mean that I didn't have moments, but overall, I prospered. That was not the theme for everybody. And that's okay. That's understandable. That's nature. Everyone's themes are different. And we are all on our own path. And part of my path is learning to respect and honor that others' paths differ. And it's not my job to fix their path or to tell them that they're on the right or the wrong path. I do view it as my job to share my own journey, my own learning, and examples of what I know to be universal principles just through thousands of years of looking at thousands of years of studies of seeing the patterns of what are universal laws. Like on this planet, gravity, hold an apple up, let it go, it falls. That's a principle. I know that for sure. I'll do it right now with my computer mouse. I know it for sure. So there are universal energetic laws, universal spiritual laws that I know to be true. And I do view it as my role, my work in this world to emphasize those and to shine a light on those. And then you get to decide, you get to choose how you work with them or not. I don't advise swimming upstream against a universal law. It's kind of pointless. But maybe that's part of your lesson, until it isn't, until you make a new choice and say, maybe I should row my boat down the stream. Maybe I should surrender and see what I find there. See if my heart breaks open and expands bigger. See if I can love more deeply, listen more compassionately, find patience where there wasn't before. What are the lessons through all of this, through the power of pausing and reflecting and opening? What can you learn? How can you evolve? Don't talk about anybody else. Don't care about anybody else right now. I'm talking about me, myself, you, yourself. You looking in the mirror and saying, how can I be better today? So as we wrap up, here's what I offer. Some key takeaways, I guess. Seek to understand rather than judge. Remember that empathy starts with listening, not reacting. Truly hear what that other person is saying and learn to appreciate that their lens is so completely different than yours. And it's not better or worse. It's different. And it's not, and I go into this sometimes, wanting people to see the world through my lens. I get it. I do it. But can you become aware that you're doing it? And what can you learn from it? And can you be better today? Focus on common goals, whether it's in your work, on a project, in your community, your school, your church, your neighborhood. Identify the goals that unite you, the things that unite you, your love for your child, a love for birds, for fur babies, for doing good work, working hard, whatever your values may be. Seek out those rather than what separates us. So I think in the end, you really, truly will find that more unites us than does divide us. And then practice patience and compassion first with yourself. Give yourself a break. We've all been through a lot for a long time, and we're going to continue to for a while. And trusting that on the other side of the chaos comes clarity. Always, that's a universal law. Chaos leads to clarity, which leads to chaos, which leads to clarity. That's a universal law. So just understand when you're in it, rather than getting down on yourself, that it is a part of the flow of things. And almost like a wave, when you get really angry, super frustrated, really pissed off, pause and imagine that your pissed offness is a wave that can wash over you and keep going. Feel it. It's here. I'm pissed. Yeah, I am. And then let it go. And take a breath and literally see it as a wave washing over you and then continuing on its way. It doesn't have to sit there and live with you, on you, like a prison, okay? Or a weight. When tensions rise, give yourself permission to pause, step away, take a breath, leave space rather than fill it with an opinion. Use it as a time for your own self-reflection rather than a time to correct someone else. So reflection over correction. Hopeful over helpless. Resourcefulness, inner resourcefulness rather than reaction. When we can work together from this mindset, slowly but surely, we get to transform every space that we're in. At work, at home, in our community, where every person does feel valued, heard, and respected. And I can tell you this, feeling valued cannot be given to you by someone else. It is not a gift granted to you by a government. Feeling valued is not a gift even granted to you by your lover or your mentor or your child. Feeling valued has to be given to you by you. Let's be the bridge builders. Let's be the bridge builders. Let's take stock of the resources that we have, that we share together. Doesn't mean we have to, working together doesn't mean we have to agree on everything together. It just means we choose to stand together anyway, despite our disagreement. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for your patience, your compassion, your kindness, and your pause. Remember, reflection over reaction. Much love to you. You are a friend to me, regardless. Regardless, so long as you are doing no harm, walk with doing no harm. And so it is. See you next week.